Hey everybody, James Maris here. So I don't know if you can hear, but it's a little bit of a rainy day, which happens to be my favorite kind of day. I got a rainy day, I got some coffee, I figure what better to do than make some music. This week we're going to make some original music. This is going to be something like 2 weeks ago where I did a transcription video of Zayd Wolf's Walk Through the Fire. This is going to be like that, but we're going to do some original music this time. Alright, here we go. Let's get into it. Alright, so I have Sibelius open. What we're going to do is open up a blank score. So when we're writing original music, there's hundreds of different ways that you can do it. You can start with maybe just some lyrics, and then you'll add a melody and some chords, or maybe you have a melody already and you have chords, or maybe you have chords first. Some people like to write at the piano, some people like to write on paper, some people like to write into the computer. For me, I do a little bit of both. Sometimes I'll get a chord or a melody in my head and I'll be like, okay, we're writing a song around that, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I'll bust out the paper and pencil. Sometimes I'll write directly into the computer. So today that's what we're going to do. We're going to write directly into the computer. And when we tackle writing this way, something that kind of helps me is to set some parameters up front. And that just kind of helps to guide you when you're writing. You know, like when you're at the grocery store and there's just like too many options. It gets to be the same thing when approaching music, when we have all of these options, you know, melody, harmony, and all these, you know, compositional techniques. Sometimes it's better to eliminate some of them, or at least just kind of set some parameters up front, just to focus the writing. So that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do, parameters, what I want to do is write a melody first, and then harmonize that melody. And as far as key or meter or things like that, I think we'll just do good old 4/4 meter. You know, actually, let's go ahead and we'll do for piano for now. Maybe if we want to change it and do 4 other instruments later, we can do that. But for now, I'm just going to write for piano, check. We're going to do 4/4, check. And some other things that we'll have to figure out are the key. You know what I mean? So the key, we'll just pick something. We'll just do E major. And title, we're just going to call this Composition Exercise number 1 by me. And then over here I'm just going to write some of my parameters down. So things like, okay, we want to do a melody first, so we're going to start with melody. I think my melody is going to be, let's start with something easy. We're just going to do something easy today. We're just going to do stepwise motion, you know, nothing crazy, just, you know, simple melody. Oh my god, what did I do? Alright, give me a second while I get this back up. Okay, we're back. So I got my simple melody check in my parameter section. So I'm just writing down the parameters just so that I know as I'm writing it, I can remember some of my parameters. So I want it to be a simple melody. We're going to do 4/4. We're E major, you know what I mean? And we'll leave it at that for now. Alright. We have our score. The first thing I'm going to do up front is add 1 billion bars, because who knows, you know, how long this piece is going to be. Maybe it's going to be 8 measures long. Maybe it's going to be 100 measures long. I don't know. Alright, and I like to write in panorama. I don't know about you guys. I like to write in panorama. Alright, so first things first, we have to kind of plunk out a melody. So let's find E major and just plunk out a melody. Just give me a second as I noodle around here. Okay, I got a little bit of a melody down. I'm going to sketch it out real quick. So I got this kind of melody here. We start on this long B. Dun. Okay, so I got this, we start on this B. We come down to this kind of stepwise little bit of leapy thing here. So we have down, oops, down, da 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 da. I'm gonna have that repeat, I think. We're gonna keep I'm just gonna copy and paste. I'm gonna keep this rhythm the same the second time around, but I'm gonna completely change the notes. I want this note to be the same the second time around, but over here we're going to drastically change the notes. So let's figure out what that might be the second time around. So what helps when we are writing melodies is to have some sort of call and response thing, like how you would do in a conversation, or how you might hear some people do in jazz, or something like that. Music is pretty much the same way, or it can be. And when we're approaching melodies, that's one way to approach things. So I have this first section, da 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 da, and then maybe this second one, da 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 da, could answer the first one. So give me a second as I see what maybe this response might sound like. Okay, I got a little bit of a melody out, so let's see here, if I could plunk it out. Oops. I messed up a little bit. There, that's what I wanted. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? Maybe we can go back down to the B. It's the same note that we have here at the beginning of our melodies here, but maybe it's an octave higher this time. And I say maybe because we're just sketching right now. You know what I mean? We're just nothing's in stone here. It's just on the computer. It's no big deal. We'll see where the song takes us. This is what we have so far. You know what I mean? We have 4 measures of you know, a kind of lyrical melody. You know what I mean? You could somebody could sing this. You could hear somebody singing it, right? Who knows? Who knows where this goes? So let's hear what we have so far. Then we can land on that B again. And who knows how we're harmonizing these things, you know. For all we know, even though we're in E major, maybe this first chord is a G sharp minor. We're not there yet. You know, let's get the melody. I think maybe we'll get 8 bars of a melody, and then we'll go and we'll talk about harmonizing those 8 bars. And then I think that might even be a good place to. We'll see where we're at. We'll see where we're at. Okay. So for now, I do want to start with that B. We're going to do it up the octave, but I don't know if I even want to keep this long note here starting. You know, I might want to start changing up the rhythm, even though we did change the range up a little bit. You know, we went from low to way high. I think now might be a good time to mess with the rhythm as well. So give me a sec as I noodle around here. Okay, so I got a little bit of a something here. Right, so what we've had so far, melody-wise, we've had a little bit of we've had a huge leap here. Stepwise motion, skip, skip, you know what I mean? A little bit all over the place as far as the contour of this melody, but for the most part we have this up and down, and then over here we have big contour up, down, and then back up, and then down again here. What I want to do here is have the melody ramp up a little bit. We talked about that, and I'm gonna have it skip a little bit, da 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 da, da, something like that. Let's hear. And I want to land on this note. I think that would be a really interesting note. So let's type it out. We have da 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 da. And there we go. And we've landed on our target note at the beat that I wanted, at least, which was the downbeat. And then we also achieved changing up the rhythm here a little bit. Alright, so where do we want to go from here? I don't know yet. I don't know. Let's see if we can finish out this phrase, and then we'll go back to the beginning, like I said, and we'll try and harmonize it, we'll see where this takes us. So we got to go back to the noodling or writing original music, and the only way to do that is to noodle and write. Well, one of the ways to do that is to noodle and write. All right, so let's noodle. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so now we have to kind of start thinking about wrapping this up. We have, I had kind of hinted that I want this to be a 8-bar phrase, an 8-bar melody, and then we can go back and harmonize it later. So we're coming up close on the number 8 here, so we need to start thinking about how we're going to start making this sound like an ending. Some of the ways to do that are to think about some of the more important notes, which are going to be like the tonic. If we're in the key of E, that's going to be E. That might be a good way to make it sound like home, or maybe any of the notes in the E major chord, E, G sharp, or B, could be good candidates for that. You know what I mean? If we do da, 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 ending on something like that makes it sound like a resolution. Da, 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 da. It's pretty, but it's not as resolute. But who knows? Maybe we're going to keep some pretty. Maybe we'll keep some color. I don't know yet. But we do need to start thinking about that, is my point. We got 2 measures to start thinking about. How are we going to wrap up this melody? So I've been noodling a lot. Maybe another approach here would be to try singing some stuff out. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. That could be a way to make it sound like an ending, right? Dun, da, 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 da. That's one option. We'd end on E, and it would sound resolute. But what if? But like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be so resolute. It could be. It could be colorful, it could be deceptive, in which we add the 6 in this case instead of the 1, which would be C sharp minor instead of E major. All sorts of options. Anyways, so that's the melody that I just sang. That's what came to me just now. It's what's coming to me, so let's write it down for now. It's a little too like preschool for my taste, but it's what's coming to me. Let's get it down for now. We can start harmonizing, and then maybe we will figure out that we end up with a different harmony than expected, and then we can adjust the melody as needed. I don't know, man. Who cares? It's my song. Let me get some coffee break. Coffee. So let's write that down. So what it is I repeat the note. I have the D sharp here, C sharp B, dun, dun, dun. I'm going to repeat, I'm going to stay on the B, on the downbeat of the bar 7, dun, and then some skipping, dun, da, 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 da. So that's actually going to be similar to this rhythm, which is okay with me. It's actually very similar to what we had just written, so that's not terrible that we are keeping something so preschool as I called it, but whatever. All right, let's hear what this sounds like. We'll let the computer do it. Fine. And just so I don't bore your guys' brains out, we're just gonna make this an 8-bar song. All right, we're just making an 8-bar song this week. Okay. So we have a melody, and I realized that we had never set the tempo. The computer picked what feels like 100 beats per minute or something like that. I don't know that we'll do something so fast, but we'll come to that later. Let's start thinking about some harmonies. I have this note B, so are we going to have B be a chord tone of the tonic, E major? In this case, we're in the key of E major. Is B one of the chord tones of E major? Is it a chord tone of, maybe it's the 7th of C sharp minor? And that's what we start on? That's kind of cool. What if we started on G sharp minor, like I had said, where we have B being the third? I don't hate that. Alright, so we're playing with some harmony here. I'm gonna go ahead and just do whole note chords for now. We'll just have chord, melody for now. And I am going to keep the G sharp minor. Let's start with the G sharp minor chord. Why the heck not? I don't know about that voicing just yet. Most likely not. So what I was playing just then was a G sharp minor 7 actually. Just going to A major, so I haven't even played an E major yet, the key that we're in, you know what I mean? And that's fine. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that down as I'm playing it, which is, that's what I'm playing. We have our opening chord of, and then I'm playing that. Okay, so what I've written and been playing so far is a G sharp minor 7 chord for the first chord. Okay, it's got a lot of notes here, and then some parallel motion on the left hand. Parallel motion everywhere, actually. I just literally moved everybody up a step. I might just move everybody back down a step, but we could also go somewhere completely different. We don't have to go back to this chord, which is kind of what I feel like it wants to do, but it would be irresponsible not to explore some other harmonic options here. What if we went and had the B be the B B? What if the B is the root of the chord B, and we're in B7? What would that sound like? 2, 3, 4. That really feels like it's going somewhere. I don't hate going to B here. B in the key of E major really pulls back to E, so that's why it has this really cadential, cyclical, well actually not even cyclical, pretty resolute, and pull here. But of course I don't have to go from the B to the E. If I were to use a B here, I could do literally whatever I wanted here. But it's just things to consider. If I use a B chord here, then I have to think about what chord I'm going to use here. What if this is the 9th of the A major 7? What if we keep it there? Okay, well, we need to pick something. We're just going to pick something. I like the idea of what I just did, which was C sharp minor, and then what I played after that was D major, which is not in the key of E major, but I kind of liked the sound, so let's explore that a little bit. I'm going to do the C sharp minor here. We're just going to keep my whole notes. Alright, it was something like that. I had thrown this the second in here to give it some crunch. I'm just going to make it sound like this. Pretty tasty chord, I think. And then what if I went to D major, like I said, which is not in the key of E, but it gives it that same feel of the pull. So over here on this first measure, I do this G sharp minor going up to A by a pull of a half step with a relationship of minor to major. What if I did that same thing, minor to major, by a half step, going from C sharp minor to D major, which is not in the key of E? I like it. I like it. Now, before we move on, we have to double check that it sounds good with our melody. 2, 3, 4. That sounds pretty good, so I think I'm going to use it. Okay, so here, more parallel motion. You see I got my D natural. Awesome. I have a lot of parallel motion, meaning that most of my chords are moving in the same direction. All of the notes are going in the exact same direction by the exact same distance. And in some styles of music, that's kind of a no-no. I don't really know what style this is. You know, this is just rainy day coffee style. You know, we're just writing whatever comes. So
we're going to use whatever rules we want. And, you know, you're making art, man. It's what you're allowed to do. So even though I have nothing but parallel motion, Debussy did that all the time. People love Debussy. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. All right, so we have chords for the first 4 measures. You've seen the process for that. We'll do the last 4 measures by myself. We'll come back together. We'll see what the end product is like, and we'll go from there. Maybe I'll try to record a performance of it if it's not too difficult. Okay, here we go. See you in a sec. Wait, coffee break. Come on. All right, guys, I'm back. So for these last 4 measures, I made a couple of decisions. So for the first 4 bars, we were doing a lot of parallel motion. We were talking about how all my chords are doing the same thing for the most part. So for the last 4 chords, I thought I would take my time a little bit more with some of the voicing of the chords in the left hand instead of doing everything stacked in these thirds and then just having those thirds move parallel. For the ending, I did a little bit more colorful choices with some different voicings here, which led to a different sound. And also, I decided to end on the E major chord. So we notice if we were to do a harmonic analysis of this piece, we don't actually get an E major, and I wanted to keep it that way. I decided to do that intentionally, and then at the end finally give us that E major to let us know that we're there in the E major. And remember I was saying that some of this melody was a little preschool to me. Da, 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 da. I thought that was a little preschool, so I don't know what else to call it, but you know what I mean. I thought the melody was a little simple, so by taking my time with some of the harmonies, I was able to make it a little bit more colorful and give this these last 4 bars a little bit more interest. So let's hear real quick the computer's version. The computer's rendering of what I've written. I don't know if you can hear it that well, but let me see if I'll do my best to play what I've written here. So I'm starting at measure 5. Okay, so you see what I mean, like something like this chord here where I have D sharp, B, and C sharp. We get this kind of nice chord here. It's I guess it kind of acts as like a B7 in inversion with a second in there, and then I had a A on top here in the melody. Oh man, okay. I have A on top in the melody, and so that kind of rounds out the if we were to do if this was a B7 chord, which it is, this is a B7 chord, and we need an A in order to make it a 7th, we have it there in the melody. And it even resolves there down to the G sharp a little bit like 7ths kind of want to do, so I don't feel so bad doing this. Dun, and so dun, dun, dun. Wait, I sang that wrong, but it'll dun, dun, it'll resolve the 7th down, which I think will satisfy that, even though it doesn't really satisfy it the way that we want. So let's start this song out from the beginning. Let's hear what it sounds like. We'll just do the computer version. Here we go. And there we go. Original music, man. 8 measures of original music. So like I said, I don't know where we go from here, you know what I mean? I just did chords and melody. Maybe this turns out to be a song for piano and guitar, or piano and cello, or guitar and vocalist. Who knows? It could be anything. And taking that into consideration, we can arrange this song however. So you know how I have these chords here, just as whole notes. That was just kind of for the sake of figuring out rhythms. Maybe they are arpeggiated. maybe I change the meter to something, you know what I mean, 6/8 or 12/8 or something a little bit more lilted. Who knows? But what we have here, and what's most important, is we have a sketch. We have original music, we have melody and chords, and what it only took an hour to do. So there we go. There's some original music there. I'm considering recording a performance of this. I'm going to spend some time with this and try to play it, or maybe see if it needs some rearranging and arrange it for some different instruments. If I do decide to have a performance of this, I'll just tack it onto the end of this. So it'll just be like here. Thanks guys for watching. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you would also please consider becoming a patron of mine. I have the information for that in the description to this video. Thanks, and keep watching.